Usually when we look at a math equation or a geometric proof, there's this expectation of cold, lifeless precision.
Oh, absolutely. Like, if you look at a modern architectural blueprint, you see a right angle, you see a hypotenuse, and it's perfectly sterile.
Right, it's just numbers on a page, completely divorced from anything spiritual or messy. But when you step into the world of ancient esoteric geometry, that sterile math textbook just, catches fire.
Yeah, suddenly numbers aren't just quantities anymore. They are the literal living blueprints for survival.
Exactly, the union of heaven and earth.
So, welcome to today's deep dive into the source material. If you're listening right now, we know you're here because you love connecting the dots. You want those profound foundational aha moments without getting completely buried in academic jargon.
And we have a very specific mission today. We were unpacking a pretty dense stack of sources, so archaeological papers, comparative linguistic journals, and fresh translations of ancient texts. Because our goal is to decode a mathematical riddle that absolutely obsessed the ancient world, a concept called squaring the circle.
Right. We're going to explore how a profoundly simple shape, the 3-4-5 right triangle, became the ultimate tool for uniting cosmic opposites. It dictated everything from ancient city planning to the holiest of blood rituals.
So, to grasp why this mattered so much, we have to look at the mathematical constraint of squaring the circle, right?
Yeah, and what it meant symbolically. So the challenge is this. Using only a compass and a straight edge, construct a square that has the exact same area as a given circle.
Which is mathematically impossible to do perfectly.
Exactly, it's impossible. A compass draws curves based on pi, which is an irrational infinite number, but a straight edge draws finite measurable lines. You just cannot perfectly translate the infinite into the finite.
Okay, let's unpack this. Symbolically, this isn't just about drawing shapes on parchment. To the ancient mind, the circle represents heaven. The spirit, the sun, eternity, it's a continuous flowing loop.
The divine realm.
Right. And the square represents the earth, matter, the moon, and temporal cycles. It has hard corners, it's the four directions.
So trying to square the circle is like trying to force two totally incompatible realities to fuse.
It's like trying to seamlessly fuse a flowing river with a solid brick. It's the ultimate cosmic dilemma. How do you perfectly map the infinite flowing spirit onto heavy, measurable matter?
And because they couldn't solve it perfectly with a compass and straight edge, ancient sacred architects in Sumer, Egypt, and the Indus Valley, well, they needed a workaround.
Symbolic solution.
Yeah, a whole number approximation that could physically ground this cosmic harmony in their temples. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, they found their answer in the 3-4-5 right triangle. The 90-degree right angle mathematically anchors the structure. It brings the heavy horizontal earth and the vertical spiritual heaven into this precise, harmonious ratio.
So let's break down the actual anatomy of this triangle. You have three sides, right?
Yeah.
Lengths of 3, 4, and 5. The 3 represents the vertical axis, the upright rod, reaching toward the sky. The 4 represents the horizontal axis, the flat earth, lying prone. But if you just have a vertical line and a horizontal line meeting at a corner, they are separated.
They're just two distinct legs.
Yeah, their furthest points are reaching out into space, forever longing to touch, but they never complete the circuit.
They remain isolated dimensions. And this brings us to the 5, the diagonal line.
The hypotenuse.
Exactly. The Pythagorean principle dictates that the square of the vertical plus the square of the horizontal equals the square of the diagonal. But physically, geometrically, the diagonal is what actually relates the two axes.
Because it's neither purely vertical nor purely horizontal.
Right. It is an entirely new dimension that stretches across the void to bridge the gap.
And what's really fascinating here is that the sources don't just treat the diagonal as a passive line drawn in the sand. It's described as an action.
Yes, the linguistics are incredible here.
In the journals we're looking at, there's a shared Sumerian and Semitic root word, KBR. It refers to the Kabir, or the Kabiri. These were ancient mystery gods deeply tied to metalworking, the forge, and sacred marriage rituals.
And that root, KBR, translates to be great, but crucially it means to bind or to plate.
Like weaving threads together.
Exactly. The diagonal is the literal great binder. It weaves the vertical 3 and the horizontal 4 into a single, unbreakable fabric. What's fascinating here is how the ancients manifested this geometry physically.
Like the Sumerian sacred bed.
Right. The translated texts detail the sacred bed of the goddess Inanna, the queen of heaven, and the shepherd king Dumuzid, representing the earth. The ritual of their sacred marriage was designed to heal the cosmic split between heaven and earth.
By encoding the 3-4-5 triangle into the bed.
Yes, the dimensions and ritual use of this bed literally function as that mathematical equation.
Okay, wait, I need to challenge this a bit. Are we really saying that an ancient wooden bed was built as a literal math equation? I mean, it sounds like we're retroactively applying modern high school geometry to ancient furniture.
It's a completely fair skepticism. But we have to remember that for these cultures, architecture and ritual objects, they were metaphysical machines.
Metaphysical machine.
Yeah. The bed wasn't just a piece of furniture. It was the ritual axis of their entire cosmos. By building it to the proportions of 3 and 4 and using the ritual to enact the 5,
The diagonal connection.
right, the diagonal connection between the heavenly feminine and earthly masculine, they believed they were physically generating the kinetic energy needed to keep the universe from collapsing. The 5 isn't just a line, it's a living union. It holds the tension.
Okay, so if the diagonal is this literal action of binding, and it's tied to the phonetic sound KBR, we should expect to see it travel, right?
Absolutely.
And looking at the sources, this exact phonetic and geometric formula migrates directly into one of the most solemn religious ceremonies in human history, Yom Kippur.
The linguistic evolution shows us exactly how this happens. Language across the ancient Near East wasn't isolated. You had nomadic tribes and massive trade routes, constant cross-pollination.
Right, people were always moving and talking.
Exactly. So as the word KBR moves into Hebrew dialects, the bilabial sound, the B, made by pressing the lips together, it shifts naturally to a voiceless P.
So KDR becomes KPR Kippur.
Yes. The root KPR means to cover or to atone. And if we look at the English word atonement esoterically, it literally means at-one-ment.
Restoring original unity.
Precisely.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the actual ritual of Yom Kippur. Once a year, the high priest enters the Holy of Holies. He approaches the Ark of the Covenant. Inside the Ark are the 2 broken tablets of the law.
The ultimate symbol of a fractured relationship, a broken duality.
Yeah. And above the Ark is a slab of pure gold called the Kapare, or the mercy seat. It sits between 2 winged cherubim. And what does the high priest do? He sprinkles blood.
But he doesn't just splash it aimlessly.
Right. He sprinkles it downward from his finger onto the golden lid.
He traces a diagonal line. The drop of blood falls from the vertical axis, the priest's descending finger down onto the horizontal plane of the golden cover. The blood physically becomes the hypotenuse.
It's the exact same geometric formula.
It is the 5. In the esoteric mathematics of the ancient priesthood, Yom Kippur is the annual squaring of the circle in ritual time. The texts refer to pausing time at the liminal 7th point to achieve reunification.
Okay, let's clarify that for the listener. What is the liminal 7th point?
Well, if you take the vertical 3 representing the spirit and add it to the horizontal 4 representing matter, you get 7.
7 being the number of completion.
Right, the Sabbath, the moment of absolute rest. But 3 and 4 can only become a unified 7 if they are bridged by the 5.
Wow.
By tracing that diagonal line of blood, the high priest places the 5 over the 3 and the 4. The golden cover joins the opposing cherubim masculine judgment and feminine mercy and covers the fracture of the broken law below.
It's brilliant. I mean, the phonetic shift perfectly matches the ritual shift. A simple movement of the mouth from a B to a P changes the geometric concept of binding Kabir into the ritual action of covering Kippur.
The blood is the great binder, bridging the gap. Whether it's the sacred marriage bed of Sumer binding the gods, or the blood of Kippur covering the ark, the underlying mechanism is identical.
The diagonal line must be drawn to heal the fracture.
Exactly.
Now, just when the sources have us feeling comfortable with this geometry, with the 3 as the masculine vertical rod and the 4 as the horizontal feminine earth, they throw a massive curveball.
Oh, this is where it gets really wild.
They challenge us to take this entire model and flip it inside out.
Right.
And the evidence they use to justify this flip is an old folklore counting rhyme about magpie birds.
Right, the magpie reversal.
The rhyme goes, 1 for sorrow, 2 for mirth, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy.
It's a total paradigm shift. 3 is a girl, 4 is a boy.
Okay, wait, let me stop you right there. We are reading from translations of ancient Sumerian cuneiform and deep Hebrew linguistics, and now the sources are bringing in a British nursery rhyme to decode ancient geometry.
It sounds completely absurd on its face.
It sounds like a massive, unjustifiable leap.
It does. But the folklorists and anthropologists in these journals argue that oral traditions, especially children's rhymes, often preserved the deepest archetypes of a culture long after the stone temples collapse.
Oh, because of the vast Indo-European and Near Eastern cross-pollination over millennia.
Exactly. These core geometric associations survived in folklore. So if we apply the logic of the rhyme, that 3 is feminine and 4 is masculine, it redefines the entire 3-4-5 triangle.
So instead of the 3 being a single masculine vertical leg, if the 3 is feminine, then the 3 represents the entire triangle itself.
Precisely, because a triangle has 3 sides. In this inverted model, the triangle is not made of separate masculine and feminine lines. It is an enclosure. It represents the feminine container.
So think of a downward-pointing triangle.
Yes. Physically, it is the shape of a basin, a fire pit, or the human pelvic bone. It is the hearth where the fire is kept. It is the pelvic delta.
It's the sacred threshold that defines the boundaries of a safe space.
Right. The feminine is no longer just a flat, horizontal line waiting to be acted upon. She is the 3-walled architecture, the room itself.
So instead of the triangle being made of masculine and feminine lines, the whole shape is a feminine room, and the square is the masculine furniture placed inside it.
Exactly. The square is the masculine force. It is the 4 directions, the active principle, the rigid 4-poster bed that is placed inside the triangular room. The feminine hearth safely contains the masculine energy.
Which begs the question, in this new model, what is the 5? What is the diagonal?
Well, if the 3 is the feminine container and the 4 is the masculine square inside it, the 5 is the child.
Oh, wow.
It is the living relationship. It is the silver or gold thread that weaves the container and the force together into a unified family.
Taking this understanding of the feminine triangle as a cosmic hearth or container, the archaeological papers then scale this geometry up to massive proportions.
Right, moving from a conceptual shape to giant architectural vessels designed for human survival.
Specifically, the ancient Armenian city of Yerevan and Noah's Ark.
Yeah, so when we look at the ancient blueprints for Yerevan, the texts describe it as being built on a triangular plan with triangle walls yearning for heaven.
Triangle walls yearning for heaven. That is such a beautiful image. It's like a giant triangular basin calling the vertical spirit of heaven downward to be caught and contained.
And then we apply this to Noah's Ark. When most of us picture the Ark, we imagine a giant rectangular shoebox floating on the water.
Right.
But the ancient blueprints provide very specific dimensions. 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high.
Right. Okay, let's look at that math from the papers. I see the 300 and the 30 giving us the 3s. I see the 50 giving us the 5. But where's the 4? If this is supposed to be the ultimate 3-4-5 geometric vessel, how does a 300 by 50 by 30 box create a 3-4-5 triangle?
Well, this raises an important question about how we visualize ancient stories. The crucial insight from the architectural analyses is that the dimensions don't literally draw a flat 3-4-5 triangle on a page.
Okay, what do?
They encode the ratio of the vessel's volume and cross-section. The sources suggest the Ark wasn't a flat-topped box at all. Structurally, the most accurate ancient visualization is an arc with a triangular cross-section.
Like sloping sides converging at the top.
Exactly like the pitched roof of a house or the sloping walls of a hearth. The 4 is implicitly the spatial base. The 4 corners of the flat Earth the arc is meant to eventually repopulate.
So the 3 is the feminine enclosure, the height. The 4 is the square Earth it rests upon. And the 5 represents the sloping diagonal walls protecting everything inside.
Yes. It's a giant triangle floating on the floodwaters.
Oh.
By shaping it as a triangle, they were utilizing the structural geometry of the divine feminine container. The Ark wasn't just a wooden cargo ship to move animals from point A to point B.
It was a cosmic hearth.
Yes, a perfectly scaled geometric hearth, a massive pelvic delta designed to safely enclose and preserve both the masculine and feminine seeds of life safely through the chaos of the flood.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Look at the journey we've taken through these sources today. We started with the impossible abstract math of squaring the circle, trying to map heaven onto Earth.
And we discovered that the ancient workaround was the diagonal binder, the 5 and the 3-4-5 triangle.
Right, and we traced that binder through linguistics, from the Kabir of ancient Sumeria straight into the dripping blood of the high priest on Yom Kippur, physically bridging the gap to achieve geometric atonement.
Then we completely redefined the triangle based on that nursery rhyme. We moved away from seeing it as a collection of isolated sticks and recognized it as the feminine hearth, the container of life.
And finally, we saw that very same hearth scale up to the size of Noah's Ark and the ancient city walls of Yerevan. It means that geometry, phonetics, ancient religious rituals, and architecture are all telling the exact same story.
Survival, atonement, and creation all depend on the diagonal union of opposites.
The circle must be squared. And that brings us to a final, incredibly provocative thought from the source material. A way for you to test this ancient cosmic math right now using nothing but your own body.
Oh, somatic counting. This is fascinating.
Somatic counting. I want you to try this wherever you are. Bring your hands together so that either your two thumbs or your two pinkies touch, forming a circle or a diamond with your arms and hands.
When you make that physical contact, that touching point is zero. In our modern mathematics, we often treat zero as a terrifying abstraction, just empty nothingness.
But physically, somatically, zero is the absolute bridge. It is the anchor point where the polarities of your left and right sides meet to form a closed circuit.
No, when you look at your hands, the sources challenge you not to count your physical fingers as isolated, solid objects. Don't look at your fingers like items on a grocery list.
Instead, look at the empty space inside the circle you've just made. Your arms represent the vertical and horizontal pillars, the 3 and the 4.
But the thumbs or pinkies connecting them, that is the 5. That is the diagonal binder closing the circuit, and the space enclosed within, the void that expands as you move your hands, that is the living, continuous field of spirit.
Look at your own hands right now. When your arms are the 3 and the 4, and your touching fingers act as the 5 to bridge the gap, you possess the physical geometric proof of squaring the circle.
The empty space inside is the unity of heaven and earth. You don't need a compass. You don't need a straight edge.
Your own body is a living loom, weaving the vertical fire of numbers into the physical dimension. You are the blueprint.
It proves that this profound connection isn't something that only happened on ancient Sumerian beds or in the Holy of Holies thousands of years ago. It's a living matrix encoded into the very articulation of your hands and your breath.
It's all connected, and it is beautifully alive. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the source material. We hope this leaves you looking at numbers, ancient stories, and maybe even your own hands in a completely new light. Keep connecting those dots.